waiting for a week or more. Ever since I got the news I've been waiting for. I guess I better leave while I can find the door. Will anybody take me home?
If I'm a little tipsy, then I must confess I've had a drop of whiskey and I need a rest. The thing I can't remember now is my address, so will anybody take me home? Now he's gone, my life is better than ever. Why did it have to take so long? I don't need somebody else to be happy, and we never seem to get along. Since she's gone, I feel like dancing the tango, feel like partying all night through. No one telling me where I'll be going, no one telling me what I can do.
So we've been celebrating just a little too long.
Maybe just a little Cabernet and one more song.
And then I better leave before it all goes wrong. Will anybody take me home? And don't forget the cat now, honey. After all those years of helpless indecision, at last I found a way of escaping from her prison. It seemed that I was blind, I had 20/20 vision. I can see the way to take me home.
Now he's gone, my life is better than ever. Why did it have to take so long? I don't need somebody else to be happy, and we never seem to get along. Since he's gone, I feel like dancing the tango, feel like partying all night through. No one telling me where I'll be going, no one telling me what I can do.
Take me. Take me home.
Sounding good, sugar.
Yeah. It's been really good to meet you, I can guarantee. We have a lot in common from what I can see.
I thought you might consider spending time with me.
Will anybody take me home?
Will anybody take you home?
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Sulk stream. I'm your host, the incredible Sulk. My hair is a little bit puffy. It's okay. Hold on. Let me work on that. Hold on. It's doing a weird thing. Don't stop. Whatever. We're doing the Conan O'Brien pompadour thing tonight, I guess. I don't know. It does what it wants. Now, that looks fucking ridiculous. I can't fucking rock. Stop that hair. Hair! It's gonna do what it wants to do tonight, alright? It doesn't matter. It's not alive, I'm pretty sure, but it is gonna do whatever it wants tonight. Welcome to the Sulk stream. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Had a great 4th of July. Kept all your fingers and stuff like that. If you caught my Subnautica stream, welcome back. We are right back to the normal Sulk stream. But this one right here is probably going to be my one and only Sulk stream until I get back from my cruise, which I'm going on a cruise in the Mediterranean. That's how it's pronounced. If you don't know, that's exactly how it's pronounced. Around Italy and stuff. I'm leaving from Spain. I'm going around Italy. So it's gonna be fun. And in honor of my cruise that you guys aren't coming with me on, but trust me, if I have the ability to do some streaming from there, I'll do that. I'm just focused on my hair. I can't, there's nothing I can do about my fucking hair. It's just weird. It's just weird right now. It just decided to do that. It woke up. It doesn't matter. I'm drinking. Yep, that's a gin and tonic. Yep. It's good. That's a good mix. Usually I make them too strong. That's what I try to do. I also have a White Claw. And I also have a bubble water. I'm well equipped. All right? I'm well equipped. And I'm ready for this one. So, in honor of my cruise, we are going to do the Carnival Poop Cruise. Dive into that one. And it should be a barrel of laughs, right? And I'm not going to take it too seriously, and neither should you, because this is a Sulk stream, and it's not like a Harvard lecture. You guys know that by now already. So, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you guys being here. How are you guys doing? Is everyone good? Is everyone good so far? Is everyone doing okay? This is important to me. This is very important to me. Everyone's heard of the Carnival Poop Cruise. Apparently it was a devastating fire that happened in the engine room after a bunch of diesel spilled out and then caught flames and then destroyed the power plant of the ship, rendering the toilets and the air conditioning and the internet all useless and setting the ship adrift in the middle of the sea for several days. But what's new with Carnival? You know, what's new with Carnival? So it'll be fun. It'll be interesting to watch. So everybody, get comfy and get cozy. Get a nice bottle of gin or a White Claw or something, whatever you happen to have. And just chill with me. Just chill with me for a while. We're gonna have a light thing, right? Because I'm already on vacation mode, right? After the 4th of July, I just kind of eased right into it. So I hope you guys are gonna forgive me for this completely unprofessional stream. Like any of them are professional. No, I suck at this. I'm awful. But I don't care. It's really more of a cult anyway. I do things and then you do. I tell you things, you do them, and then, you know, I'm investigated by the FBI or something like that. As one does. As one does. Anyways, if you are working, continue to work, and thank you for having me in your ears. I appreciate that very much. And if you are driving, please drive safely and get home. And remember, tithing is available. If you guys want to go ahead and donate to the Sulk stream through any way you can. If you're on X, my Ko-Fi is in the link in my bio. So if you guys want to hit that, no judgment. No judgment from me. No judgment whatsoever. Anyways, yeah. And then the rest of you know what to do. Anyways, I'm the Incredible Sulk. This is the Sulk stream. And this is called You Will Never Go on a Cruise Again After Watching This Video. It's Poop Cruise. We're just going to go and we're just going ahead and call it Poop Cruise. Enjoy. It's Poop Cruise.
You got Cthulhu.
It's Poop
So
Cruise.
it might surprise you to hear
It's Poop
that
Cruise.
in 2023, over 30
It's Poop
million
Cruise, yeah.
people willingly chose to go on a cruise. Personally, I can't imagine anything more
Hold
horrific
on, we got to
than
start
being
over because I feel like there was a lot he
ocean
did.
Is a dangerous place. You got rogue waves.
Despite
you got
Pamunky,
pirates,
Alex,
you got, Cthulhu.
Strawberry.
So
How's
it
it
might
going?
surprise you to hear that in 2023, over 30 million
I hope you saw Carnival's new rules. No, I didn't. If you have them, send them to me
people
immediately.
willingly chose to go on a cruise. Personally, I can't imagine anything more horrific than being stuck in the middle of the ocean with thousands of potential serial killers. Not to
That's offensive, right? There's real serial killers on there. People do kill people on boats, like all the time. It's like regular. They have a brig. They have like a mortuary where they keep bodies. There is a casket on every cruise. Like a coffin that you go into the coffin because people do die. Oftentimes like old people will like live on cruise ships for a while. And so they need to have additional coffins because they can't pull into port every time somebody dies. And a lot of people go. Sometimes a lot of people die. They actually have a special code for it. I was talking to a bartender on one of the cruises I went on, and he was like, yeah, when you hear blah, 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 that means somebody's died. And then, yeah. But yeah, they have coffins. People do die pretty regularly.
mention, the cruise industry is fucking horrible. Disease, tax evasion.
SB says the new rules are being deemed racist. Why? Does it say no blacks on board? because that would fire up, like that would really bring back Carnival. That would kind of up the classiness of Carnival Cruise Lines. Not saying black people can't be classy, just as a general rule, they can be a little violent and stabby.
Exploitation of workers, pollution, murder. The list goes on. But we're not talking about any of that stuff today. We're talking about one specific incident that will make you reconsider ever getting on a cruise ship again. An incident that's come to be known as
The poop cruise?
I'm gonna be climbing on board a ship in what is it? So I leave on Wednesday, and then I've spent like a couple days in Spain, and then I'm getting on. So like, I don't know, the 9th or the 10th or something like that. I'll be getting on our cruise. So I'm ready for this. I'm ready. And yeah, it'll probably will smell a little bit like poop. It's a Disney cruise. They all do. They all smell like that.
Cruise.
Poop cruise.
Poop cruise. Poop cruise.
4,200 passengers on board.
Ended up stranded at sea, spending 6 days crapping into a plastic bag.
There's no lights, no water. We can't flush.
There's shit and piss on the floors.
Many passengers used red plastic bags as toilets.
Human waste was actually piling up.
Hundreds.
I like how he captures the air inside of it, right? There's like, he didn't like let the air out to like, no, it's like a balloon full of farts, and somebody has to come by and actually pierce this balloon full of farts, letting the farts out, right? To make it more economical, so he can fit more poops into his poop trolley. I imagine they would have some sort of poop trolley.
Left in hallways or topside to escape the foul and stagnant air below deck.
It's February 7th, 2013. You're on the Carnival Triumph, one of the finest damn cruise vessels to sail
Burb
the
the
seven
fart
seas,
bag.
with its state-of-the-art restaurants, world-class entertainment, and who could forget
World class.
flushing toilets. You're in for the time of your life. After 2 days of smooth sailing, you arrive to the beautiful city of Cozumel, Mexico, where you spend the day shopping, sipping pina coladas on the beach, and trying not to think about the crippling third world poverty right outside the resort. Around 6 p.m.,
whatever.
you get back to the boat. You hit the buffet and stuff your fat...
I don't care about poverty. I don't. I think it's gross and stuff, and I just try not to make eye contact. And they, sometimes the little kids run up to you and they like, hey, please, can you buy me some food or something like? And then you push them right in the face. They really respond. If you just put your palm on their face, usually they're pretty small. You put your palm on their face and then you shove them real hard. And I'm like a big man, right? So I shove them real hard until they fly backwards and their chiclets go everywhere. It's hilarious. That's what I do. I'm not telling you how to do it, but you can do it however you want. You can steal their chiclets. You can throw them in the water or something like that. There's water everywhere, but it is toxic. It's toxic. So that's really more of a kill shot.
Then you decide to check out the cruise comedian.
Huevos rancheros. Pico de gallo.
All right, that was a bad idea. But the night is still...
Was that his joke, though? Please give me a punchline. Like, set up the joke first. Why was that funny? Cruise line comedians actually get paid pretty well. And they just get a free room, and they have to work for like 45 minutes a night, maybe? And they make thousands of dollars. Like, I was talking to one, and he made I think he made like 20 grand. Like, just for like hopping on a boat for like a week. It's pretty good money. I mean, you have to like know people and like be in the business for a long time and be like super clean. And I did see his show, and it was a yawn fest. It was, he was a nice guy. I'm sure he's got good bits and stuff like that, but it's got to stay real super squeaky clean because that's what they pay him for. And so, but a nice dude, a nice guy all around. I think I got his email address.
Still young, so you head over to the Lido deck where the DJ plays Gangnam Style on repeat 27 times in a row. But
this is me. I'm gonna be in the club, indoor club.
God.
The Club Disney. It's gonna be.
After having more than
cringy.
a few cocktails, you hit the buffet.
Way too drunk in Club Disney. Like, they're gonna be like, sir, you're way too drunk for a Disney cruise. I'm like, I don't think so.
And one last time before stumbling back to your room and finally getting in bed. Time for some well-deserved rest before hitting the breakfast buffet in the morning. But just as you finally drift off, Your sleep is interrupted by the sound of Alpha Team is code for fire.
Can somebody give me a link to the rules of these racist rules of Carnival?
Was blasting throughout the entire ship at 5:27 a.m. But let's back up a bit. Just 15 minutes earlier, the ship's engineer heard an alarm go off in the engine room. He immediately went to check it out, and to his horror,
my 1-year-old son just opens the door and makes fucking dead eye contact. We start stumbling at me. I'm like, what the fuck?
He's not tired.
Hey, buddy, you not tired? You're not tired? No, you can't. No. Bye.
Sorry, I thought it was close.
Night-night. Oh, he's not happy. I'm sorry. Don't give me the big lip. Don't give me the big lip. No. No. You want to stream with Daddy? You want to stream with Daddy? Okay. All right. Just for a minute, okay? Okay. You get to stream with Daddy for a minute. All right. So now it's me and my son.
He saw that one of the diesel generators was spraying fuel all over the place.
SP says, I had a great time on the cruise. It took 7-day Virgin Island. Oh, that's fun. That's fun. Strawberry says, mini Sulk. Oh, everyone says, oh.
If he didn't act fast, the whole ship would go up in flames.
He does. He looks like me, doesn't he?
He
looks like me, right? And he's smiling. He's not tired. Why aren't you tired?
He had a late nap.
It's 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's 8 o'clock, bro. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's 8 o'clock. No. No, you don't touch any of that. It's like, anyways.
The engine room to shut off the generator manually. Only one problem. The engine room was now flooded.
Alex says I just X'd it to you. Okay. You could just message okay. I don't see it for some reason. Oh, did you tag me in it? Oh, is that a burp? That was a burp, wasn't it? That was a burp. All right, hold on. All right, we're going to bring these up. Me and the boy are going to bring this up. Okay. Key changes. Guests 17 and under must be off public decks by 1 a.m. Wow, harsh. Unless they are with a supervising adult or participating in a supervised use program. Bluetooth speakers and oh, I see how. Okay, yeah, I can see how. Marijuana has a 0 tolerance. Right, you're not supposed to smuggle weed on the boat. I could also see that as being. Racist. Code of conduct: disruptive behavior is not tolerated, and guests may face fines and stateroom confinement. Oh. Locked up, like, so you get house arrest. Safety briefings. Age requirement for solo cruisers is 25 or older. Must be 21 or older to cruise solo. 25 if okay. All right. Online check-in, real ID requirement, real ID driver's license. So you need to have an identification. Super racist. Liquor and beverages. Guests can bring a small quantity of alcoholic beverages, 12 cans, 12 ounces or less per person at embarkation, and 1 750 ml of wine or champagne. So no vodka. Dude, I remember you used to be able to sneak vodka and stuff on any cruise, and it was super duper easy. I guess that's not the case anymore. I've been on a number of cruises, and I've gotten like recklessly drunk on a number of cruises. But yeah, I can see no Bluetooth speakers and no marijuana. That is pretty racist. That is the bread and butter of those people.
With gas up to his ankles. One wrong move, and he would be burnt to a crisp. He carefully started making his way to the control panel, and boom!
Strawberry says, "Oh my God, he's adorable for real, John and Jess." Yeah, right. Yeah, he's a 1-year-old baby. Of course, he's gonna be fucking adorable. I mean, look how cheeky he is. He's cheeky. You're cheeky. Talking about the wee. He did his first Naruto run tonight where he threw his arms behind and he was running around the house and he was going wee. It was adorable. So cute. It was adorable. And he does. He looks like me. My other son has blue eyes. And he's like more blonde. He's pretty blonde too, though.
He looks so blonde on camera.
He looks pretty blonde on camera. Yeah. Okay, you can take it back.
Yeah, I'll
You don't need to be on this. Okay, bye, buddy. Love you. Anyways, back to the real stuff.
The diesel ignited and the engineer was incinerated. I'm kidding. He was fine.
Bummer.
The fuel
He burst into flames.
did ignite, but he was able to make it out on time. But now there was the small issue of a massive fire in the engine room. That's when the Alpha Team message went out to the rest of the ship. Smoke was starting to fill up the lower decks, and thick clouds were spewing out of the ship's tail on the top deck. People were unsurprisingly freaking the fuck out. Many of them put on their life jackets and gathered near the lifeboats. Having a widespread...
They are supposedly cutting all the inclusive drink packages? What? No. Okay, so here's the thing about drink packages. Like, okay, so you go on the boat and it's like $20 for a drink, right? For like a Mai Tai or a mojito or some stupid shit like that. But you get the drink package, and it's like, I don't know how much it is. They're expensive, right? But I think you get 10 drinks or something more. I don't know what they are. I don't know what they included. Anyways, people get absolutely shithoused on them. Shithoused, like irrationally drunk. Like some of them were unlimited. Like you pay, it was something like $100 a day, which is expensive. Don't get me wrong. But then you can have unlimited drinks, and then people will get out of control hammered on them, which is understandable, right? You're paying that kind of money. You want to get your money's worth. When you get the drink package, they think, okay, he's going to have a few drinks. No. Some people go way too far with it. Like me, I would go way too far with it.
Panic on a ship is never
I'm getting my money. I'm getting my money, all right? I'm doing shots. I'm doing unlimited shots, okay? From the moment I wake up, I'm going right before I go to the breakfast buffet. I'm taking 3 shots, and I'm going to be slurring by the time I get my scrambled eggs going. And then it's just going to keep going after that. It's going to keep going after that. And yeah, it's going to be like Patron or something. Something nice. I'm not going for that cheap-ass like Jose Cuervo. Ew. Yuck. I might not do tequila. Tequila gets me weird.
So the captain told everyone to stay calm and that everything was under control.
The monkey says he's my producer. He would be a terrible producer. It would just be blah, 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 blah. Ardent, you're fired. I don't pay Ardent, but you're fired. And I'm bringing, this is nepotism. I'm bringing my son in. He's going to start like naming the episodes and like making all the fucking thumbnails and like doing, like running the accounts and stuff. So, sorry. Family's family. Blood, you know. Hey, Christian.
No one could understand what the hell he was saying because of his Italian accent, which also reminded them of the cost.
Why are there so many Italian captains? It doesn't seem like they'd be good at it, especially after the Costa Concordia, where he was just like, hey, let's see how close we can get to the land. Oh, I forgot. The ocean is only so deep here, and this boat it has a draft, right? It's like a 30-foot, 40-foot draft or something like that. And this is only 10 feet deep here. So we're going to hit something. And we did. And then it just kind of lists over until it's, yeah, this is good. The funny thing about the Costa Concordia, almost immediately, there was scuba divers going into that wreck and finding valuables, which is insanely dangerous, but also pretty fucking awesome, right? You're just basically being a pirate. You're salvage. That shit's legal. It's out there. There's really no way they can lay claim to it. It is fair for the taking. I think I think that's the case, right? It's out there. You can't bring it in, so we're going to go in and get it. It's ours. That's exactly what I would do.
Concordia accident from last year.
That's exactly what I would do.
Freaking out even more. But then the cruise director, Jen, assured everyone that the situation was being handled and everything was going to be okay.
Did I get a PayPal? All right, I did get a PayPal from. Hold on, let me sign in my PayPal. I should really do this with a click of a button, but I am unprofessional. Oh, I was wrong. Hold on. I know I have to. Yeah. Don't even. I wonder. I can't say your real name, but it's from Ko-Fi, and it's thanks, Alex from Ko-Fi. I don't want to say your full name, but I have your full name and I have your email address. But thank you for the $5. I appreciate that. Oh wait, there we go. Thank you.
There's no point waiting in the muster station to go back to your cabin, go back to bed, go and have some coffee, have some breakfast.
This calmed people down, but things were pretty fucking far from okay. The fire was still raging in the engine room, so the captain gave
Is that for the baby? I didn't see a note. Does it say? Nope, didn't say anything. But thanks. Appreciate that, bro.
order to activate the CO2 cooling system, which quickly put out the fire. There we go.
That might have been
Captain
for Twitter.
Luigi saved the day, but just as he was getting ready to head back to his cabin for a celebratory plate of gabagool, one of the engineers came back with terrible news. The fire had completely destroyed the engine. The boat was now stuck in the middle of the ocean with no power. Only this could have been avoided somehow.
That's a bad situation.
Well, we'll get to that later.
It's a bad situation. I'd be pissed. I'd be pissed about that. I'd be pretty angry. But what do? You just keep on drinking and partying, even with no lights or music or bathrooms. I would just start throwing poop at people. And yeah, people would get pretty upset, but what are they going to do? It's lawless time. We're getting lawless up in here.
129 people were now lost at sea with no air conditioning, no hot food, no TV, and worst of all, no toilets. This was not good. Cruise ships are some of the most
Alex the Gorilla.
filthy,
Thanks, bro.
vile
Appreciate
places
that.
on the entire planet, and that's when the toilets are working. So you can only imagine how bad this is going to get. It didn't take long for shit to hit the fan. About an hour in, the toilets were...
That is a turn of phrase, but the fans weren't working, so it was just shit. They were in the hallways. It was like Mogadishu, man. People were just pooping wherever they were standing.
Were already getting clogged, so the crew started handing out the infamous red hazard bags for people to poop in. And it was suggested...
And I was going door to door to the hot girls' cabins and stealing their poop bags and then putting it on my bed and just like laying in it. And just...
that everyone would be in the shower.
Just sniffing it in.
By now, the toilets are not
Arden Share says, LOL, so is India at sea? I mean, yeah, pretty much. India, there's a reason why that continent is walled by oceans and then the highest mountain range God could arrange, right? The highest mountains on the planet and then a wall of oceans. And he was like, this is where we're going to keep the Indians, right? Don't put them anywhere else. And then everyone in England is like, nah, bring them over here. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It's not fine. It's not fine. There's a reason why they were so secluded. Now you're finding out. It used to be the land of mystery and intrigue and stuff like that. And now they're like, oh, they're just really unsanitary. Pretty R-wordy. I can't say it because we're on YouTube, but it's very R-wordy.
flushing, and it's going to start causing a little bit of a problem in a short while. So we've
A little bit of a problem. Toilets aren't flushing. It's going to cause a little bit of a problem. There's like thousands of people on board dying for a dump. You know, just trying to take a shit. Can you imagine? And like, what if somebody took a shit and like it was already out? It was deployed. They're sitting on the toilet and then they're boom, boom, boom. Excuse me, customers. Please don't take a shit in the toilet. And you're like, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. God, it's there. What do I do now? And then you just grab it. And then you huck it overboard, I guess. I don't know. Right? Or throw it in the hallway, right? Sans bag.
come up with a plan. So, folks, what we're going to do is we're going to deliver some red bags to all of the bathrooms on board, including the stateroom bathrooms, your cabin bathrooms.
I mean, if you've ever been on a Carnival cruise line, they don't smell great Anyway.
And if you do need to do a number 2, we ask that you please do deposit that into the red bag.
Alex says just a couple of shekels towards your trip. Well, I got to pay for like college and stuff for my kid. I'm kidding you. My kids are never going to college. Stupid. Come on, they're my kids. There's no hope. There's no hope.
In the corridors on every deck on the ship. If you would be so kind as to drop them into their metal bins in the corridors, that would be fantastic. And if you do need to do a number 1, everybody, to say filling up the toilet bowls, if you can do it in the shower.
The lack of air conditioning was not helping things at all. Pretty soon, most
I
of
would
the ship
never
was
pee in
smelling
the
like
shower. I would never pee in the shower. That's disgusting. What are you talking about? Peeing in the shower? That's not where it's supposed to go. The shower is not for peeing. It's for your bodily. Why would you pee in the shower? I don't see the point in that. Just get out as you're soaking wet and go stand over the toilet and pee in it. Like a real person, like a human being. You know, we're not animals. We don't just go to the bathroom wherever we're standing, even if it is in the shower.
like an Arby's dumpster on a hot summer day. A lot of people opted to move their mattresses out to the deck rather than sleeping inside with the stench. By the second day, the food supply was running dangerously low.
Couch Surfing says, you pee in the shower every day. What? Don't lie. I don't know who that is.
And you might be asking how.
I don't know.
There's so much food on these ships. How could they have run out in a day? Well, you got to remember, 90% of this food is frozen slop. So without working freezers, it was just sitting there decomposing, which only added to the already horrendous smell. And if that wasn't bad enough, some people were actually hoarding food. They were hiding hamburgers and cereal in their rooms like animals. Luckily, another cruise ship, the Carnival Legend, came to the rescue and dropped off some much-needed food and supplies.
Oh, good. Another
good thing,
stinky
too,
one.
because pretty sure these people were about 6 hours away from eating each other. Now, this was no gourmet food by any means.
I would hop off of the boat. I would just jump. I would just jump into the sea and be like, I would prefer that boat rescue me than this boat, the stinky poop boat. Please do not let the stinky poop boat rescue me. I want the cruise. All right. So I'm just going to jump into the sea and then, and the real cruise is going to, right? Because I'm not staying on that boat. There's another boat. I'm just going to jump.
Unlike the delicious meals from today's sponsor, CookUnity. CookUnity is the first chef. My code, DanTavius50, to get 50% off your first order of CookUnity meals.
Okay, there. I gave you that. If you guys want, support that guy. Dontavius. Right there. I'm plugging you, bro. I'm plugging you. And we all know that this is a successful show. So you're welcome. Honestly, you're welcome.
And try them out for yourself. Thanks, CookUnity. Now, where was I? Oh, yeah, that's right. The Carnival Legend dropped off food, but without working microwaves and freezers, they were limited to things like cold hot dogs and onion sandwiches. But that wasn't the bad part.
Ew.
The bad part was that people were forced to wait in line for hours to get food like they were in the Soviet Union or some shit. But hey, at least they weren't going to starve. 2 more cruise ships would stop by that day and drop off more food, which pretty much solved their food shortages for the rest of the trip. But with one problem down, more kept arising. One passenger was in urgent need of dialysis, so the Coast Guard had to transport her.
Hold on. Why the fuck are you going on a cruise ship if you need dialysis? Don't you need to go to like a place for that? Do they have the ability to give dialysis on cruise ships? I had no idea. I didn't know they could do that. And why would you go on a cruise? That's stupid. That's a very stupid thing to do.
To one of the other cruise ships so she could get to the hospital immediately. Which begs the question, why didn't they just transfer everyone to another ship and just be done with it? Well, it turns out it's not as easy as putting a board between 2 boats and having everyone walk across.
Everyone who's fit and healthy just jump in the water. Right? If you can't swim for 5 minutes, then you stay on the poop cruise. Is that fair? Everybody that has the ability to swim for a couple of minutes gets off. If you're dying of something or other, then you stay on the poop cruise. If you're like so old that you can't even manage to stay afloat for a few fucking minutes, then stay on the poop cruise. I'm not. I'm jumping in. I'm jumping right in. I'm taking one of the, you know, everyone's got those life vests, right? You know, you go to muster stations. I don't know if you've ever been on a cruise, but when you go onto a cruise, you have to muster first, right? And so you put on the life jacket, and then you go to muster station, and then everyone's all like, you know, look, we're on the muster station. And everyone blows their whistle, right? You're not supposed to blow the whistle. Everyone's blown that whistle. It's disgusting. They don't clean those whistles. Don't blow on the whistles. Please don't blow on the whistles. I would just grab one of those and jump in the water. What are you going to do? Leave me? You're going to leave me for like the sharks to eat me and stuff? No, I doubt it. No, the non-poop crews will actually turn around because they have power and pick me up. I assume. I'd have to tell somebody first, not just jump in and like hope somebody noticed.
You know, it was just scary the way they
like, oh fuck, I forgot to tell someone.
me down. They put me in a stair rope, and the Coast Guard said that don't worry about it, that they would catch me. And
Arden Shah says, you have 666 followers, sir. That's success by many measures. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. There's 57 people watching. That ain't bad. I'll take 57 people. That's fine. That's fine by me.
And, you know, they were going to hold me back, and they did. And then they transferred me to the bigger boat, and, you know.
These ship-to-ship transfers are actually pretty risky.
I wonder if they started eating people. That's what I would do. I would try to become the captain. I would start the cult on the boat. I'd start a new cult and start like soapboxing. And by the end of it, no one would want off because this is a new paradise that we've established.
And
a utopia on the seas. That's what we would call it.
4,000 pissed off people rather than one dead one. So for now, they were pretty much stuck on the triumph with no way out. And not only did people have to stand in line for food, but also to charge their devices. This was going to...
Kabuki says, I just unfollowed. 665. No, thanks. Thank you.
Be a massive problem. With no way to watch Family Guy on their phones and
I'm
tablets,
actually going to double check
the
that.
Boat started to change. Everyone was starting to get a little bit more rowdy, a little bit more raucous.
She lied to me.
And the crew was doing everything
Typical woman.
to try to keep people distracted.
Typical woman lying for attention.
From the reality that they were living in.
And hey guys, just because we're stuck in the middle of the ocean with, you know, no working toilets, doesn't mean we can't have some fun, all right?
But it wasn't enough. And the ship's comedian was so bad that it was just making people more irritated.
Fuck's Mexican cookie. What are you talking about? It's like a chocolate chip with sauce all over it? What are you talking about?
I'm sorry. You just put like a huge amount of pressure on him, dude. People are mad. People are mad as shit. And they're all like, send up the comedian. He'll fix it. And he's like, what? What? No, I came on board with like a tight 45. It was a tight 45. What do you want me to do? Like 3 days worth of crowd work? I can't do that. I can't do that. Everyone's mad. I have to poop too. Right? My bags are getting full. They're getting full. And I don't know. I keep asking for more bags, but the phones are dead, right? So I'm pooping in other people's bags and they get not happy about that. They're not pleased about that. Where am I going to get more bags? Are you going to pay me in poop bags? You going to pay me in poop bags? I'm going to use them for flotation devices. That's how I'm getting off this boat. There's literally lifeboats. There's lifeboats. Get on the lifeboat and then sail away. Don't tell me the lifeboats don't have power. They do. They have power and they have bathrooms on the lifeboats. I know they do.
This guy stinks!
Management had to find a way to calm down the growing frustration or they might have a mutiny on their hands. So someone came up with the most...
Couch Surfing says, and those comedians are homely and no fun anyway. I told them already, Jess. I told them about the comedian we met, and yeah. They're no fun. They do get paid well. They do get paid well.
Brilliant idea ever. Free booze. An open bar was established.
A lot better than I get paid. That's for sure. A lot better than I get paid. and they get a free cruise and stuff like that. It ain't bad. Ain't a bad gig.
And believe me when I say people took advantage.
So they opened the bar. Which is... That seems like the worst idea. I mean, that seems like probably the worst.
Becoming a doctor.
That seems like probably the worst idea you could possibly think of. They're all like, okay, people are getting mad. We have no place to pee. Let's make the booze free. Yeah. With expected results. Let's just go ahead and say that with expected results.
It took only about 5 minutes for the crew to realize how tremendously stupid their idea was.
Despite says I have absolutely no interest in ever boarding a cruise ship. I've been on a number of cruises. I couldn't even tell you how many cruises I've been on, but like it's dozens. I've been on dozens of cruises. Some are okay. Some are really nice. Like me and Jess went on one where we basically had slaves. And I'm not even fucking kidding you, slaves. Like if you called like a person to your cabin, they'd give you a fucking piggyback ride to the bar. I'm not even fucking kidding. Like, look, I'm being a little bit hyperbolic, but if you ask them, they would do that. They would do that. They'll come and rub your feet and like suck your toes and shit. It like, not that you would ask them to do that, but like if you wanted to test your limits on and their human dignity, they'd be like, okay. They would. They would. I promise you they would. They had an entire dossier of every person on the cruise. And they would know your schedule when you got up, when you went to bed, how drunk you were, how drunk you weren't, which was a problem for them, apparently, because first day I got on the boat, I was like, yes, I'd like a Shirley Temple. And I got razzed by the fucking bartender. I got razzed by him. I got razzed by the fucking bartender for having a Shirley Temple. I'm like, I'm sorry, it's 9 a.m. I think it was like 10 a.m. But still, you know, maybe I just don't want to immediately start getting absolutely shit-faced hammered. I did get absolutely shit-faced hammered. But, like, they didn't expect that. They thought I would be more reasonable. I'd be like, no, I have to wait a little bit because I know myself. I will drink myself and, like just above, like, where I'm still breathing. That's usually, if I'm still breathing, okay, like, but like I have dropped below that, where I'm like, people are like, he's turning blue. Yeah. Yeah, I remember walking home from dinner one night and then just like sitting down. And then like, they brought me water. And I was all like, I was like, I bet that Shirley Temple's not so bad now, huh? Right? Right? I could barely see. I was fucked after that cruise. It was like, God, it was like 3 weeks long. It was a long ass cruise. And I looked like shit afterwards. Open bar the entire time. It was a very nice cruise. We went from Greece to Israel to Oman and then Dubai. We went through like the Red Sea. It was fucking wild. It was a good cruise.
Now, I don't know if you guys...
We went to Jordan. We saw Petra. It was sick. It kicked ass.
...have ever been on a cruise or not. And if you haven't, you're lucky to not have encountered a specific group of individuals who I call cruise people. And I use the term people lightly because they're basically animals. They shouldn't even be allowed to live in society, okay? We should just put them all on cruise ships and then sink them. So you have a bunch of agitated...
No, they do drink. They do drink like like I thought I could... Look, me being like 30 years old and stuff like that, I'm like, I'm going to put these old codgers down. No. They showed me how to do it. They're all like, no, this is how you drink. This is like a bottle of champagne for breakfast. Like, this is how you fucking drink. And they did. They drank. I didn't, like, more than a frat kid at college. Like, way more. Way more. Like, nah, no way. How are you alive? You're like 60 years old and you've had like, it's an amazing amount of alcohol. That's all I'm going to say.
Who haven't been able to watch Family Guy for 2 days, and now they're absolutely plastered, okay? This was a recipe for disaster. Fights were breaking out, people were throwing furniture, they were peeing in the pool. According to one crew member, a few hours after the open bar, there was a blackout for 15 minutes. We had panic attacks, a fight, a person threatening to jump overboard. It got loud. Didn't open the bars again. Yeah, the open bar didn't even last 2 hours before they cut that shit off, and no more alcohol was served for the entire rest of the trip. But hey, it wasn't all bad news. That day, Jay made an announcement that a tugboat was on its way to tow the Triumph to the nearest port.
Sounds like they drank like hot air balloon pilots. I mean, if I was a hot air balloon pilot, why not be drunk? What job do you have to do? You gotta yank the thing until you go up and then stop yanking it until you come down. Ooh, I hope I don't mess this up. Somehow they do. Somehow they do. They're all like, I guess I shouldn't have that entire bottle of Johnny Walker Blue on my way up because now we're falling to our deaths and we're dead. It's got to be the easiest job in the world. There's no way you can like steer it or do anything. You're just there. The word pilot is not appropriate. It's like, okay, it's like you walk onto an elevator and then the black guy who operates the elevator is like, I'll be your pilot for today. I'll be like, okay, well, that's a little bit self-serving, but okay. You're not a pilot. You press the button. You press the fucking button and we go up. And then you press another button, you go down. You're not a fucking pilot. It's the same thing in a hot air balloon. It's the same thing. You're not a pilot. You are an elevator operator. All right? I could do your job easily and way drunker. Let's be honest. And I have.
We're all waiting for the tugboats. They were supposed to be here at noon today. The captain has just advised me that the tugboats will be here slightly delayed at about 3 o'clock. I think it's to do with the fact that we've drifted away so far away in the wind.
We have no idea where we are. We just say that.
On the third day,
just say we don't know where we are.
The engineers were able to restore some more power to the ship, which gave them more working toilets. Not a lot, you know, like 5. There were 5 working toilets for the entire ship of 4,000 people. So you had 2.
Kabuki says, I like Drunk John. I'm not drunk. No, this is Drinking John. Drunk John is quiet. Drunk John is... That's Drunk John. That's Drunk John, right? This is Drinking John. This is John on his way to being drunk. It's still a while off. Still a while off. But I'll get there. God willing, I'll get there.
2 options. Number 1, wait in line for 3 hours to use the filthiest, most disgusting toilet imaginable. Or number 2.
Onia says John doesn't get drunk, just more awesome. Stop.
Go in a bag. Personally, I would have opted for number 2. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is that along with the propulsion systems and the power, the engine fire also knocked out the ship's stabilizers, which...
Couch Tripping says, LOL, the head thing is super on point. He does that. Yeah, she knows because I do that. That's if I'm plastered, which is usually after I've had several drinks. So yeah. Yep. Oh, she's seen it a million times. I don't get like violent or like mean or anything like that. I'm just I'm fun until I'm blacked out. I'm blacked out, right? And that's why when I was in Vegas, I thought ahead, right? I was all like, these guys are not going to babysit me, all right? So I'm going to be fun until I feel that blackout coming, and then I'll be like, okay, bye. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. And then I fade into the shadows, right? It just get darker as I fade into the shadows. And they're like, we've only been out for like 35 minutes. Yeah, but he's had like 9 shots and I don't know how many beers. So I drink quickly. Because I go on this like, there's like a fall off point. Once I've had about my 4th or 5th drink, then I'm like, wow, That's made me really thirsty. Instead of water, I will douse that thirst with way more alcohol. Way more alcohol. Way more alcohol. Right? And I will be drinking doubles until I'm done. Jess is like, oh, just give him a single. And if I sip it, I'll be like, what the fuck is this? This is a single, right? I'll be on the edge. I'll be like, and I'll take a sip of this drink. I'll be up. This is a single. I said double. I said double. She's tried to just do that to me a few times, and it never works.
Slowly causing it to tilt. By day 3, it was listing at a 5-degree angle, which I know doesn't sound too bad, but it was enough to flood the lower deck with pee-pee.
Yeah, that's true. I remember Marie feeding me pizza because I was blacked out. I was like, I'm gonna, and then I just walked upstairs and I fell asleep.
The carpets were literally soaked in urine.
Now the water drains out, and it's all squishy.
I'm usually pretty good about like knowing when I'm about to black out. Like I'm usually pretty good. I usually have my limit, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I'm done. We got to go home. Something has to happen. I'll get a cab or something, but I'm about to black out, which is not good for anybody involved, because I'll fall asleep. And I can't do that to you. So I'm going to go home before that happens. I have maybe 20 minutes. So we do this now together as a crew, or I do it alone, but I'm going home. Wherever that happens to be. A bed. I don't give a shit. All right? I'll go sleep in a toilet stall.
The floor. Here's our toilet, pee pot, trash can with a trash bag. And then it goes under there. And we're listing this way, so it goes all the way up. And it'll all be soaking on.
Is that pee on the carpet? Is that fucking pee?
Yeah, you can see it in the video. This is awesome.
Ew.
Watch it go down the stairs.
Ew.
Turns out that telling people to pee in the shower on a boat with no plumbing was not the best idea. The stench had now spread through the entire ship. Anyone who didn't have a balcony moved up to the poop deck and formed a tent city. It was like a cleaner version of downtown LA. Meanwhile, the tugboat.
Yeah. Downtown LA is gross. Like, these people are pooping in bags. People in LA don't do that. They just poop in the open street, right? They don't care. People are walking by and they'll just fucking fire off a dump right there. They're all strung out on heroin and shit anyway. They don't care.
Boats were now pulling the boat to land. Slowly, but there was a change of plans. By the time the tugboat arrived, the ship had drifted so far north that it was now closer to Mobile, Alabama than Progreso.
Ew.
So the Coast Guard decided to tow the Triumph there instead. Everyone on board was horrified. The only thing worse than being stuck on a boat caked in human shit is being in Mobile, Alabama.
By the way, this is the entirety of Mobile, Alabama. This is all of it. This is the whole thing. This is a whole ass thing. Look, you see behind me? This is the park. This is their Central Park. That's their building, right? It's kind of like an Empire State Building, only it's very small. It's so small. It's so small. And that's it. It's about the size of a large mall. A large mall. But not a very large mall. Just a large mall. And that's it. Yep. Honey, we should go to Mobile, Alabama. And we can spend. Ooh, we can spend that sweet Sulk Stream cult money. Oh my God. I got a $5. That'll get us a nice room.
I truly can't think of anything worse than that. Now, up to this point, Carnival Corporate...
Kabuki Tut says, when I think Mobile, Alabama, I think mobile homes. There's a reason for that, Tut. There's a reason for that. There's a reason they called it mobile. Mobile. And that's exactly the reason. They weren't beating around the bush and being like, oh, should we call this anchored to the ground Alabama, or Concrete Footers, Alabama, Foundation, Alabama. No, mobile home, because most people want to leave.
Britt had stayed silent about the situation, but God damn it, someone had to say something. The Carnival CEO stepped up and made a public statement.
I think it's very important that I apologize to our guests and to their families that have been...
But not offer any sort of money or compensation or anything. Apologize. I'll apologize until I'm blue in the face, right? But that's it. That's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to apologize because, like, it's free and we have shareholders
affected by this very difficult situation.
Meanwhile, Carnival's owner chose to show solidarity by attending a Miami Heat game.
Yeah, he owns a fucking cruise line. I'd be like, wow, you guys deal with that. Sounds like a you problem, right? I'm the owner. You're the CEO, okay? Deal with the poop cruise. I own a cruise line. You see the fucking pinky? You see that pinky? That means I'm fancy. That means I'm well-to-do. All right? You won't see me in Mobile, Alabama being like, I'm so sorry your ship caught fire and it smelled like poop for days. Because, yeah, that's what you plebs kind of deserve. See the pinky? He's probably not drinking White Claw. He's probably drinking baby blood or something like that. I don't know. I don't know.
The boat was supposed to arrive in port today, but luckily it didn't, or else this video would be way too short. The current was now going against the boat, which really slowed things down, and the ship was moving at about 2 miles an hour, and there was still over 100 miles left. But hey, on the bright side, they were over halfway there. At around noon, a Coast Guard helicopter landed on the boat and delivered a much-needed generator.
Oh, you know what I would do? If I was the owner, I would fly out on that Coast Guard helicopter, right? And not drop anything off, but I would just slide open the door and flip them the bird, right? And then we just cruise on by like, ha ha! Right? And then we go home. And I would do like, you know, I would go to the Miami Heat game, I guess. I don't even give a shit about basketball, but I probably have a very serious gambling addiction.
Why they couldn't have done this earlier, I have no idea. But the generator...
Oh, fuck! I forgot to pick up the package. Oh, fuck, dude. I'm sorry. Dude, I totally forgot. I totally forgot. But it's like a mile from my house. I could pick it up tomorrow. Dude, I'm so sorry. Shit. I feel bad. I'm sorry.
The generator was able to restore enough power to get 2 of the elevators running.
I'll do that. Jess. I don't know if she can hear me. She'll remember. Hit me up tomorrow. Make sure because I'm sorry, because tomorrow's like the last day I can do that.
With most of the toilets.
Honey, Christian sent us a package.
Oh, okay.
We have to get that tomorrow.
I have to go to UPS anyway because I got to get something printed out, so.
Okay.
Let's go tomorrow together.
That sounds good.
Okay.
And to the relief of the passengers, they now had Wi-Fi.
Sorry, dude.
The mood improved considerably once people were able to watch funny Family Guy compilations on YouTube again. The boat was so close to Alabama, they could practically smell the incest.
Do you guys watch Theo Von? I saw him once when I was doing comedy. I was at a comedy club in LA. I didn't see him do comedy, but I saw him amongst the comedians. And I was about to go talk to him, but like he was talking to some girls and stuff. And I was like, let's not bother him. He's doing a thing. And so we didn't actually talk to him. But do you guys watch Theo Von? Is he good? Is he funny? I don't know. I don't have an opinion on Theo Von because I've never watched him. He seems pretty famous. He must be good. I don't know.
The captain originally predicted that they would dock sometime in the early afternoon, but they hit another snag on the way. See, the tugboat's tow line broke, which tacked on another few hours to their trip. With the
Kabuki
Wi-Fi
says,
restored,
I do
people
not
on
watch
board
it.
were starting
Okay.
to realize how
So
big of a
Kabuki's
news
out.
story their situation was. CNN was basically covering it 24 hours a day, nonstop, drawing criticism.
Onia says, I've never watched Theo Von. He seems boring as fuck. Well, then how do you know? I don't know. He seems like some goofy redneck, right? He seems like he's some goofy redneck from Appalachia. But like, I mean, he gets paid. People seem to like him. I don't know. I'm not willing to watch him. I'm not going to go out of my way. But you know what? I could watch him and he might be super funny. And I might be like a big Theo Von guy after that. I kind of doubt it, but anything's possible. Anything's possible. I bought a Jordan Peterson book one time and I read it and I was like, this is fucking nonsense. This is a book full of nonsense. What is he talking about lobsters for? They flex after. Why? I don't. What's it have to do with bed making? It sounds like the rantings of an insane person. Mein Kampf has a more like legitimate story structure than fucking Jordan Peterson. I don't know how that guy became so famous because like if you ever listen to him, he's got some point, but he's insane. He's an insane person. He's an insane guy. Up in the head, and he's addicted to Xanax too, which I understand that part. That's the least insane part about him. No, I get that, because Xanax is the fucking bee's knees, dude.
This isn't for people like Jon Stewart.
CNN has been on the case.
Did I feel gay after? No, I didn't feel gay. I just felt fucking confused. I was just confused. I was all like, why? Why all these things, man? It's like, clean your room, and his fucking room is fucking filled with shit. And, you know, let's talk about lobsters. The lobsters. I'm like, why are we talking about lobsters? What does this have to do with anything? Look, if you're trying to, like, reach for, like, really deep analogies and shit like that, don't go with shit that, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just not smart enough. I can accept that. Sometimes I'm just not smart enough. I can totally accept that. And you know what? I honestly do take some comfort in that. You know, I'll be like, you know, I'm just, you know, I just don't get it. You're just a lot smarter than me, right? And that absolves me of like almost all responsibility a lot of the time. I honestly use it way too often because in a lot of scenarios, I am smart enough, but I don't want to accept any responsibility. So I just say I'm not. Yeah. Shut up. Shut up. She bursts in. She's wearing my son on her chest. And they both gave me a fucking look.
Reason giving this boat crisis, wall to covered wall.
They both gave me this look.
I think I should mention a lot of people.
I'm like, whoa, I'm feeling judged by a 1-year-old.
Including passengers were saying that the media hype was overblown and the situation really wasn't as bad as they were making it out to be.
He can't even answer if he's Christian or not, which is fucking nuts. Well, then he's not. I can. I'm Christian. There. That was easy. That was super duper easy. That was like probably the easy. That was really, really easy. And he can't do that. He talks. I don't know. I know what video you're talking about. I didn't watch it personally, but it seems like he's really trying to dodge because I'm sure he's backed by some people that he's probably not trying to step on their toes.
One survivor said, I saw a few people crying, but honestly, without the dirtiness, it wouldn't be too bad. It was like camping.
And he's a terrible father, but that doesn't surprise me because he's a psychologist. And psychologists overanalyze everybody in their life, including their own children. So they don't typically have great relationships with spouses or family members. And so I don't necessarily blame him for that. But on the other hand, I kind of do. But he's really more of a fucking sellout. He's like an over-intellectual sellout. I'm not even sure. I'm sure he's a smart guy. I'm sure Jordan Peterson is a smart guy. Don't get me wrong. But like, I think he's a sellout. I think he's probably a pretty big sellout.
Being on a cruise ship. You know, I thought this comment was funny because going on a cruise is basically the exact opposite of camping. But there's no doubt that the media...
It's okay to be Christian. Just tagged himself a couple times.
Definitely sensationalized the
That's
story.
okay.
Some of the passengers who spoke to the press were even accused of exaggerating their stories to get on the news. or to cash in on that sweet, sweet class action lawsuit. Nevertheless, it was an...
His daughter got banged by Andrew Tate. Ew. Which kind of makes him a failure by definition. Yeah. Nasty. Ew. Andrew Tate? Andrew Tate's a fucking whoremonger. Andrew Tate's a whore. Like, the Tate brothers, both of them, are despicable pimps. Like, I'm nowhere near as, like, rich and successful as the Tate brothers, and I accept that. But they're bad people. They're despicable pimps. I mean, they're just gross people, right? And anybody who follows them, their following is the most cringy following I've ever seen in my entire life, dude. Like, it's a bunch of beta cock orbiters who, instead of like orbiting some like hot chick that they want to bang, they orbit this mulatto dude that might get them a hot chick, which is not actually gonna happen, dude. So it's sadder than a normal beta cuck. It's sadder than that. Can you imagine? Can you imagine how fucking sad that is? That's fucking sad. That's sad, dude. So gross. Gross, dude. I could beat him up too.
An absolute PR disaster for...
That's besides the point, but I can beat a lot of people up.
Carnival. So corporate had to do some serious...
I'm huge. I don't know if you guys know that.
Serious damage control before the boat docked. They offered everyone on board a full refund, $500, a credit towards a future cruise, and a Long John Silver's gift card.
This bite says it's true, but she denies it now. I feel bad for her, dude. I just feel bad for... What's her name? Mackenzie or something like that? Michaela, something Peterson. I don't know. I just feel bad for her. She's a slut. She's a slut, and her dad's a psychopath. And then he's all addicted to benzos and stuff like that. And she's around getting fucking dicked by black guys. So, yeah, you gotta feel bad for him.
People were happy with these concessions, but not
Did
everybody.
I get bumped by YouTube? Is my YouTube still up?
All systems online.
Nope. Hold on, let me check. I want to check my YouTube, see if it's still up. Yep, still up. Just nobody's watching.
Well, we'll get to that a little bit later, though. At 9:20 p.m.,
Whatever.
the Carnival Triumph docked in Mobile, Alabama. It was finally over. Carnival CEO...
Look, I would deny it, too. I would deny that shit. Up and down. Up and down, I would deny that shit. All day, every day, because that is nasty, dude. I feel bad for her. I feel bad for... I think her name is Mackenzie. I feel bad for Mackenzie. I don't give a shit about Jordan. I think Jordan is a sellout and kind of a bad person. Maybe had some good points. Maybe was a reasonably smart, like a smart guy at one point, and he still is. But he's insane and kind of a bad person.
was the first on the scene and personally apologized to the passengers.
Girls usually get addicted to benzos, not guys. That's weird. But now that I think about it, that's actually accurate. I wonder why that is.
True.
And I want to apologize again for subjecting our guests to that.
But he wasn't alone, obviously. There were dozens of news crews chomping at the bit to get the juicy scoop on the poop cruise. Some
The
passengers
juicy poop
were
scoop.
eager to be on TV.
The poop scoop. Get that juicy poop scoop.
Most just wanted to get the fuck out of there.
Honey,
and go
I
to
need
sleep.
another drink.
And you would think that Carnival would book them hotels right there in Mobile, but no. They inexplicably put everyone on buses to go to New Orleans, which was 3 hours away.
I do wonder why girls usually get addicted to benzos. Because I've known chicks that get addicted to benzos.
Oh, and get this. On the way there, one of the buses broke down, leaving everyone on board stranded again. Out of habit, they immediately started shitting in bags. It was a disgusting scene. Eventually, everyone made it to the hotel in one piece. But
Hello,
that
Daniel.
wasn't the end of the drama with the Carnival Triumph. While it was docked
Daniel
in Mobile's
Snot.
port for repairs, strong winds caused it to break free and drift across the shipyard.
Did this really happen? And it hit another boat? God, what? Who is running Carnival? Who is running that place?
eventually crashed into another ship, causing one dock worker to lose his life in the process.
Oh, that sucks.
Now, it should come as no surprise that a lot of people tried to sue Carnival for this fiasco, but
I would. Then you guys would too, right? Here's the thing. Now that I have my cult going, which is honestly shocking, but not terribly unexpected. Now that... Can you make me another drink? Please? Love you. Beautiful. Sweet.
You're only saying that so I make you a drink.
No.
Yeah,
Just carrying my child. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. We should get in. We should start class action suing people. We should sue people as a class act. What do we... Okay, let me see. There's 75 people here. So 75 people, and we start a class action suit. I don't know. I can figure something out. We all sign a piece of paper, and we start suing people. Just willy-nilly. Just start suing. We can sue Jordan Peterson for whatever. We'll fucking take him to the court and stuff, and if he doesn't show up, we win by default. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. I'm not a lawyer. And if I was a lawyer, I'd be a bad lawyer. I would be unethical. And you can't do that as a lawyer. Lawyers are scum of the earth, dude.
They had no case whatsoever because apparently mother suckers didn't read the fine print. Before you step foot on that cruise ship, you basically have to sign your life away. Whatever happens on that boat stays on the boat. You can't do shit about it.
These passengers have no right to sue because Carnival...
So this gentleman right here, Anderson Cooper, he is Gloria Vanderbilt's child. And Gloria Vanderbilt is an heir. She is an heiress of the Vanderbilt fortune. And the Vanderbilts built basically every railroad in the country. Anderson Cooper was an intern at the CIA in college. And he probably still works there, honestly. He is an asset, okay? This man lies to you professionally and gets paid very well to do so, even though he does not need it, because he's probably from one of the richest families on the planet.
Attorneys say when you buy your ticket, the ticket contract makes absolutely no guarantee for safe passage, a seaworthy vessel, adequate and wholesome food, and sanitary and safe living conditions. Carnival, because of that, is trying to get the suit tossed.
So when it was all said and done, none of the lawsuits went anywhere. They were shit out of luck. Carnival said that the entire thing was an unavoidable accident. Was it though? Because according to Carnival's own documents, diesel generator number 6, the very same generator that caused all these issues, was overdue for an inspection for over a year. And it gets...
Dan Snott says, I like to call him Anderson Pooper. You ain't coming back from that. That is devastating. Like, whew.
First, 2 of the generators weren't even working at all. If those 2 generators had been functioning, this whole situation could have been avoided. Not to mention, this wasn't the first time Carnival had problems with broken fuel lines.
Do you guys know the entire, do you guys know the conspiracy theory that Kathy Griffin is actually Anderson Cooper's dead brother? Have you heard of that one? Oh my God. I want to see if I can actually find something on that. Hold on. Okay, hold on. I'm going to see if I can find it. I don't think YouTube's going to have it, but we'll see. Stay with me.
Marlon Brando.
He's one of the great artists of all time.
Yeah.
And he's so, working with him, he's just so inventive.
My mom hooked up with him.
She did?
With hot Marlon Brando, not like Apocalypse
Ew.
Now Marlon Brando.
Oh,
She hooked up with like,
Ew.
I think it was on the waterfront Marlon Brando.
Wow.
She and Carol Mathau both watched the movie
Lucky
and
lady.
both made a deal that they were going to meet up.
Did they really?
Yeah, Carol.
Apparently, Marlon Brando was quite the looker back in the day, though. So, you know, I'll give that to old Gloria.
Not kidding.
Carol got it first and then set it up for my mom. It was a one-night date.
So, Katie Christian says that's a new one. You haven't heard that before? Okay, so let me lay it out in the gist. This is a conspiracy channel, by the way. And everything here is for entertainment purposes. Do not take any of my advice and nothing seriously. That's for legal purposes, but for anyone who's not a lawyer. So, Anderson Cooper had a brother that died when he was a little kid, right? But the conspiracy goes that Anderson Cooper's brother was actually turned over to the CIA and made transgender as some sort of MK Ultra experiment. And now he lives his life as Kathy Griffin. And Kathy Griffin spends an unusual amount of time with Gloria Vanderbilt. And they are considered family and like they're best friends and stuff like that. And if you look at the side by side, beside Anderson Cooper's dead brother and Kathy Griffin, they look identical. They look identical. Identical. And so it's a very strange conspiracy. And yes, it's just one of those. It's just one of those theories.
It's called an engine fire. Just
Kabuki says, I want to believe this story, this theory. Yeah, me too. I do.
1 year before the triumph, Carnival's Costa Allegra had a similar problem where a broken...
Thought says he's indeed a Vanderbilt. He changed his name. Yeah, of course. And it's not uncommon for people in the biz to change their name. So, but yeah, that's 100% true. He works for the CIA or worked for the CIA, and that is a fact. And he is a Vanderbilt, and that is a fact.
Fuel line caused the fire and left 1,000 people stranded for 3 days. And in 2010, it happened again on the Carnival Splendor. In fact, this was...
And then it says, imagine outing your whore mom. I know, on national television, right? Like the ball's dropping, and you're like, by the way, my mom fucked Marlon Brando. Flex. How much on that? How's that a flex, dude? How is like calling your mom an absolute trollop a flex? That seems like something I would want to keep like as a family secret. Like, yeah, my mom, she got busy with famous people, which is grosser than getting busy with regular people. Hear me out. Marlon Brando fucked a lot of chicks. A lot of chicks. All right, so he was probably not squeaky clean, right? He was the Charlie Sheen of his era.
The 9th incident in 2 years. One of Carnival's executives...
Kabuki says, once you work for the CIA, you work for them for life. That, my impression... Yeah, no, that's 100% true. Once you're in the intelligentsia, you remain forever in the intelligence community. That is a well-known... I mean, yeah, you can be activated at any time. And he now works for CNN or some shit, which is also deeply connected to... Come on. I mean, like, it's just... Come on.
CNN
Of course it's
that
true.
They were totally in compliance with the rules and regulations.
Unless you're
of
Ed
the
Snowden.
sea.
Ed Snowden, here's the thing about Ed Snowden. He wasn't CIA. He was lower level, just like national security. He just like... He was a paper pusher kind of basically and like moved... He was not like in the CIA. He just had access to a lot of stuff. And he was like, I'm going to leak all this and then live in Russia for the rest of my life.
But here's a dirty secret about the cruise industry. Their regulations ain't worth shit. Carnival and every other American cruise company aren't even technically based in America. The cruise ships themselves are flagged in places like the Bahamas to avoid taxes. So they're not really held to the same level of scrutiny as something like that.
So, despite says, from what I understand, he was an asshole and a nightmare to work with. Marlon Brando, yeah. So Marlon Brando, he's insanely talented. Marlon Brando was a very talented actor, but he was an alcoholic, right? And he was completely unprofessional all the time. But when he was on, he was on. When he was like in Apocalypse Now, I think, he would come in after drinking several bottles of wine, and it would be difficult but he would still nail it. He would still Have you seen that movie? Like, his lines, his delivery was fucking flawless. Even if he is hammered drunk, he can really... I mean, he's a good actor. He's Marlon fucking Brando, for God's sakes.
The FAA. Remember, the ship took off knowing that 2 generators didn't work. That's like a plane taking off with only 1 engine. Would that ever be allowed?
Yeah, that happened in India, like not even like a month ago. And then some British guy was the only survivor. His name was Pajit Sandaskadar. He's not British. He was just like the poop on the cruise.
I sure hope not.
Just a poop survived. A human poop survived.
And you would think that this whole debacle would be
And you might be like, hey, that's pretty racist. But I'm sorry, have you ever sat next to an Indian person ever in your life? Yeah, they basically are human poops. They are human poops. They stink. They're stinky. They're stinky. Stinky, stinky human poops. Look, I don't have tons of experience with Indians. I'm sure a lot of them are super nice. I would assume. But you stink. You fucking stink. You reek. Oh my God. It's impolite how bad you stink.
a massive hit to Carnival. But the following year, they had their most successful year ever, which just proves...
Despite says, do you know how long it took to film that movie, Apocalypse Now? No, I don't.
The saying.
But it was a good movie. A solid 8.7 out of 10. It was a very good movie.
All publicity is good publicity. The Carnival Triumph continues to sail to this very day under its new name, the Carnival Sunrise.
Okay. Let's watch
His Horde.
The Most Evil Gynecologist, because we're still going. We still have half an hour left.
Like, really hard. It could take up to 14 years and millions of dollars in debt before you can start taking people's kidneys out legally. But what if I told you...
Dan Snot says, I know an Indian guy born in Africa. He's actually a really nice guy. Look, I'm sure they are, dude. It's just like, I don't know if it's a cultural thing or it's like a physiological thing. Like, why do you gotta fucking smell like that? Why? It can't just be like you stink like that on the rig. You just must not shower. It has to be cultural. It has to be a cultural thing.
You didn't have to go through all those years of schooling and debt to become a doctor. Because just a few years ago, somebody pulled it off. The person I'm talking about fooled the world into thinking they were an actual doctor, not once, not twice, but 4 times. And all before the age of 20.
A black doctor?
It all started on December of 2014 at St. Mary's Medical Center. Dr. Sebastian Kent was visiting a patient when he noticed a doctor...
What movie was that from? Blazing Saddles? A black sheriff? Mel Brooks he did great movies. Fucking Men in Tights is a classic. I'll watch that today and I'll be like, this shit is fucking genius.
During the hall that he didn't recognize. There was something off about him.
Kabukita says, whites are the best smelling, white are the better, except the French. Yep. No, that checks out.
You looked lost. Like,
no, that checks out.
Belong there.
But here's the thing about the French. Not all of them stink. Actually, I don't even think that French stink that bad. I know a lot of French people. And, like, some of them fucking suck, dude. Some of them I absolutely hate and want to strangle with every fiber of my being. But some of them I really like. So, I think French people are just normal people, right? I mean, the French, the Germans, the Swedish, the English, like that, you know, the Italians, the Spanish, the whole kind of, I think they're just kind of Some I fucking hate, and some are pretty okay.
He also looked like he was about 12 years old. Kent thought to himself, man, I must really be getting old because these new doctors get younger every year. But he just shrugged it off and went on with his busy day of staring at women's vaginas.
Kabuki Test says the French need to bathe more and shave. Yeah, I don't think I met. Look, I met lots of French people. I don't think they stink that bad. Not that I've seen. I've met a lot of French people. And they don't smell that bad. Indian people fucking stink. Indian people, without question, without exception, stink. They fucking reek. French people, they smell fine to me. I don't think they smell all that bad. Or not that I've noticed, right? You know, not that I've noticed.
He was a gynecologist, by the way. I think I forgot to mention. Apocalypse. When he got back to his office at the end of the day.
All right, we're going to do the production hell of fucking Apocalypse Now, because that's what Sleepy said.
Snow is without doubt one of the greatest war films ever made.
Oh, is this? Yeah, I love this guy. He's hilarious.
A chilling exploration of man's descent into madness and despair.
Again, Apocalypse Now is a very watchable movie. If you get the opportunity, give it a watch. It's very good.
It's the carnage and destruction of the Vietnam War, featuring the finest actors of their generation, delivering some of the most intense performances of their careers. It's one of those movies that anyone remotely passionate about cinematic storytelling simply needs to experience at least once in their life. Which is just as well, really, because the making of this movie has gone down in Hollywood history as one of the biggest clusterfucks imaginable. The problems and disasters behind Apocalypse Now.
Body odor is usually manageable. It's the people with bad breath that really fuck up the world. I agree with you. But that's more of a health issue. Look, if you have bad body odor, that's a hygiene issue. If you have bad breath, that's a indicator of health. And like, you might not be able to help that, right? Your teeth might be rotting out of your face or something like that. Or you might be old or something, you know. So I kind of have less judgment towards those people with bad breath, but I do avoid them like the plague.
Now's torturous production have practically become the stuff of legend, even rivaling the nightmare that was the island of Dr. Moreau. But whereas one movie became a laughable piece of sci-fi horror trash, the other turned out to be one of the greatest films of the 20th century. And I think it's kind of interesting to compare the two. So grab your LSD and smoke grenades, and let's dive right into another episode of Production Hell. Based on the Joseph Conrad novel Hearts of Darkness, about a journey up the Congo River in Africa to bring home a rogue British officer, the script for Apocalypse Now was written...
Okay, so it's the Saving Private Ryan. That's what it is, it's Saving Private Ryan.
...by John Milius, who changed the African colonial setting into the Vietnam War. Milius would go on to write no less than 10 different versions of his script, totaling more than 1,000 pages, and that's before the movie even started filming. Anyway, Milius wanted his mate George Lucas to direct it, and they even got as far as location scouting in South Vietnam. But it turns out that shooting your movie in the middle of an active war zone is a tricky thing to get permission for.
Look, fucking Harrison Ford. This guy, Charlie Sheen's brother. God, what is Charlie Sheen's brother called? Emilio Estevez. Yeah, I mean, fucking Marlon Brando. The biggest names of the era.
And George was already busy on another little project that he had in mind. So he dropped out and Apocalypse Now was shelved. However, Francis Ford Coppola had been interested in the project for a while.
Francis Ford Coppola is Nicolas Cage's uncle. Nicolas Coppola is his actual name. Francis Ford Coppola is his uncle.
And with Lucas out of the picture, he stepped in and decided to direct the movie himself. He knew he'd need access to American military equipment for the big battle scenes, so...
By the way, if you don't think Hollywood is like a deeply nepotistic industry, you are wrong. It is not about, and I'm going to go ahead and do this. Nick Cage is not the worst actor in the world. Jessica hates him. Hates him with a passion. I think Nick Cage is a unique actor that doesn't do this entire like method bullshit. He overacts like this classic Greek kind of training. Like he's an overactor, right? This is just a type of acting. Not all acting has to be fucking, oh, I was there, I put myself in it, and I embodied the person. So no, he's making a caricature. He's making a caricature, right? It is a form of acting. It is a respectable form of acting, and I think he is a respectable actor. What do you guys think about that?
We approached the US Army about a cooperation deal. That is, until they read the script and they were like, nah, it'll be fine. This forced him to shoot the movie in the Philippines because they were pretty much the only ones with US choppers willing to help out. Unfortunately, the choice of location would cause its own problems further.
Onia says we should all be so nepotistic as the Jews and the billionaires. We are. We are. We are. Like, dude, we are. Like, nepotism is not just about your dude. Like, every millionaire I've met. Look, it is always family. Family is always going to take precedent no matter what, no matter how fucking stupid they are. This is a fact of life, all right? This, okay, America is not a meritocracy. Not by a long shot. It is an inherited birthright type of situation. It is just like a feudalist kind of state. You know, you have to be born into something, and regardless of how smart you are, or you know, how hard you work, you will not be as rich as somebody born into it. Right? And even if that person born into it is stupid and fucking lazy and shit like that, he's probably still going to make way more money than you ever will. Even though a fool and his money are easily parted, there are systems in place to keep that from happening. There's trust funds, right? Where you can't overspend and stuff like that. And propagating this wealth down generations and stuff like that. There's people to manage these kids, and they're sometimes billions of dollars of net worth. You know, yeah, nepotism is the core of the economy. And so don't be like, oh, if I just work hard and study hard, I can make it. Because that is false. That's false as shit, especially these days. Maybe it was true back in the 60s or something, or the 70s or 80s or 90s or any of those decades that we're not a part of. But not today. Not by a long fucking shot. Now let's watch Apocalypse now.
Down the line, casting also proved to be difficult. Coppola approached everyone from Steve McQueen to Al Pacino, Jack Nicholson, and Clint Eastwood. Fuck, man. My brain just about shut down trying to imagine this movie with Clint Eastwood as lead actor. Anyway.
Clint Eastwood is disgustingly talented. I am such a fan of Clint Eastwood. He's a great actor. He's a great director. He's done great films. He's a fantastic talent.
None of these guys were keen to spend months in the Filipino jungle, so eventually Coppola settled on Harvey Keitel for main character Willard. Marlon Brando was convinced to play the antagonist Colonel Kurtz for a hefty paycheck, and Robert Duvall and Dennis Hopper were soon signed on as well.
Dennis Hopper?
Which was a pretty decent cast for the mid-1970s. Everything seemed to be going
Dennis Hopper, huh?
well as the production moved to the Philippines in the spring of 1976 to begin their shoots. It didn't last very long though.
Strawberry says Clint Eastwood is the bee's knees. And he's based as fuck too. That's beside all that, but he's based as fuck. He's the American Mel Gibson.
The problems began pretty much straight away. Coppola was unhappy with Keitel's portrayal of Willard, and after some disagreements, Keitel quit.
Also, the singer for the band Rooney. I remember the band Rooney. is related to the Coppolas. Get the fuck out of here. Really? I remember the band Rooney. I had their CD. Wow. How about that?
Quit the project and tore up his 7-year contract with the studio.
Strawberry says, I would still bang him and my husband knows that. Okay. He's like 80 years old, but yeah, okay, whatever.
Wait a second. A troubled production in a tropical location starring Marlon Brando that loses its lead actor before it's even got going? What does this remind me of?
Is the most outrageous spectacle I have ever...
God, have you ever seen this? The Island of Dr. Moreau? It was such hot garbage. It was such hot garbage. It was like... It was pretty close to unwatchable. No, it was just unwatchable. It was unwatchable. It was just garbage. It was hot garbage.
Ever witnessed. Look at yourself.
Anyway, with Keitel out, Martin Sheen was
Brandon.
flown in to replace him.
Brandon, why you always come on? You always come in around 9:30. Do you get off work or something?
No sooner had he started work than a typhoon destroyed most of the sets, costing millions of dollars to rebuild. Most of the cast and crew flew back to the States while this was going on, and some of them decided never to come back. Needless to say, things weren't looking good. The movie was barely off the ground.
Again, I'm going to have to recommend this to anybody. Watch Apocalypse Now. Watch the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, even if you're not like a movie buff or anything like that, which I don't even consider myself to be a movie buff because I have a very short attention span. But that's a thing about this movie. I have a short attention span, and this movie captured it. It captured it. That's saying something. That's saying something. So just please watch the movie. It is a fantastic piece of work. It is a very watchable
and millions of dollars
amazing
over budget. Things didn't get much better once shooting restarted. Marlon Brando finally showed up, massively overwhelmed.
This is when Marlon Brando felt like shit. He was really on his downward spiral. He was on his downward spiral. He was like hitting the bottle real hard and like drinking all the time. And I think he was doing heroin a lot. I could be wrong about that, but you could see he was definitely, if you look at early Marlon Brando, like, oh shit, I can't even name any early Marlon Brando.
Wait, and totally unprepared. He hadn't bothered to read Heart of Darkness, or even the script for his own fucking movie. As a result, his scenes had to be shot in darkness and close up to try to hide his size. And since he refused to learn his lines, the only option was to turn the camera on him and just let him talk, hoping that some of it would eventually be usable. Coppola was basically rewriting the entire movie day by day, trying to compensate for various disasters and setbacks as they hit.
Francis Ford Coppola is also very talented.
Filming the battle scenes proved to be equally difficult, because there was a real-life civil war going on in the Philippines at the time, and the attack choppers kept getting called away to blow up actual targets. Cast, crew, and equipment struggled in the sweltering tropical heat. Disease, drug, and alcohol abuse were rife, and security guards even had to be employed after the production's entire weekly salary mysteriously disappeared. I wonder what they could have possibly spent it on.
Yeah, fucking heroin, probably. Cocaine, heroin, whatever you got. Look, like, in Southeast Asia, in the modern era, Southeast Asia, if you get caught with drugs, it's an automatic death penalty. That doesn't stop anybody from doing drugs. Not Westerners, not the fucking natives. No. Drugs flow. They flow. And if you do get caught, you can buy your way out with a couple $100. I'm not suggesting you do that, but just don't do that. Don't do that. But like a lot of Australians, there was a case of the Bali 9, right? Where there was 9 Balinese that were flying from, or they are Australians, I don't really know, from Australia to Bali, and they were moving large amounts of cocaine, and I'm pretty sure they were Australians, and they got caught, and they all got executed and stuff like that. It was a big deal, right? Because they don't give a shit about life over there. In like Indonesia, you're not a human being. You're just basically a cow. They'll put a bullet in you for no reason. Because everyone has like 20 kids. It's not like Westerners who like raise their kids and, you know, we'll have like maybe a few. We'll have like 3 or 4, right? And then we'll like really pay attention to them and raise them right and make good citizens. No, they'll just have like 15 or 20 or something like that. And yeah, a lot of them will die. A lot of them will die, but whatever. Who gives a shit? It's R selection versus K selection. And they're very much R selected. I don't know them. There's a difference, but I don't know what it is.
When Dennis Hopper was having a tough time finding the energy to play his role, Coppola asked him what he needed to get into character. His reply was simple: about an ounce of cocaine ought to do the trick, Francis. The drugs were duly provided.
An ounce? An ounce of cocaine? An ounce of cocaine. An ounce. Holy shit, that is a lot of cocaine.
And Hopper delivered most of his scenes high as a kite. What a legend. Not everyone was as impressed as me, though. Marlon Brando was disgusted with Hopper's unprofessional behaviour. That's a bit fucking rich, mate. And constantly berated him. So naturally, Hopper made a point of provoking him at every opportunity. Eventually, Brando straight up refused to be on screen with him, which meant their scenes had to be filmed separately and spliced together in editing. The relationship between Brando and Coppola also started to break down as production dragged on, to the point where Coppola had to turn directing duties over to his assistant whenever Brando happened to be on set. Someone on the production team also got the bright idea.
Dan Sal says R versus K selection theory is an interesting theory. It's not even like a theory. It is just like, I mean, yes, it is a theory, but like, it's true. It's a true theory. If you guys don't know what R selection versus K selection theory is, so again, I forget exactly which one is which, but let's say R selection theory is where you have many offspring and whatever survives, right? You don't put much energy into those children. You don't put much work into those children. Like a black person that has a lot of kids, right? But he doesn't father any of those kids. And like whatever one becomes successful, right? And that is a mating strategy. But K selection is where you have maybe 3 kids, possibly 4. And then you put a lot of time and resources into making those children as successful as possible. And then they go on to reproduce. That is K selection theory. White people usually have a K selection theory, and then black people usually have an R selection theory. So it makes it that is what it is. There you go. I taught you about it.
Idea to use real dead bodies from a local morgue for the outdoor temple scenes. I guess nobody really thought to question where they came from because they had other things to do. Until the police showed up one day and confiscated everyone's passports, not to mention the cadavers. It turns out that their supplier was a local grave robber.
Rocky McCobb says Australians love getting wasted. They used to be pretty awesome. I'm not saying the Australians aren't awesome now. I have a lot of Australian friends. Well, no, I don't. But I met a lot of Australians. They seem cool. They seem like cool people. They just seem like Americans, just like a little bit more down under. But yeah, they just they definitely lost their way. And they don't have great numbers, and they're suffering from the same thing like Americans are suffering from, which is too much immigration, too much non-white immigration, and it's destroying the society, just like it is here.
And the production was implicated in his crimes.
Christian says this is why I'm here. RK theory. Yep, that's fine. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like J.K. Rowling, only RK theory.
You just cannot make this stuff up. You know, I'm trying to...
Harry Potter and the Goblet of Black People. I don't know.
Picture shit like this going down on a big budget movie today. Somehow, I don't think Disney would sanction behavior like this.
Dan Snow says, watch the intro to Idiocracy in a simpler explanation. Look, dude. Oh, my God. That was such a stupid movie. I remember it being such a stupid movie when it came out. And then, like everybody else, as it going on, I'm like, oh, man. It's making a lot of sense. Not that it's not a stupid movie. It's still a fucking stupid movie. It is a stupid movie. But yes, the points they made in it, like the entire, like the background, yeah, it makes, I mean, it's true. I mean, even like the hospital bill being like $183 million. It just makes, it's true. It's true. And it's sad. That's sad.
Things weren't going much better for Martin Sheen, who was already struggling with alcohol addiction and went on a self-destructive spiral as the weeks dragged.
O'Neill says R/Clay selection theory is why I recommend the Jolly Heretic channel early vids. He explains it very well, and he applies it to phrenology. Get the fuck out of here. Post a link.
On.
I'll follow
Sometimes he would barely even function.
Phrenology is such a funny science. Because a lot of people are like, oh, it's a nonsense science and stuff like that. It's not, and it's been considered nonsense since, like, I don't know, the 30s or something like that. And now it's coming back into vogue, which is hilarious. It's hilarious because, like, oh, they have the sloped forehead where they don't have, like, the frontal cortex of their brain and stuff like that. And it's making a lot more sense than it used. Right? We're all like, oh, that doesn't make sense, right? But I'm like, but these days it's like, okay, no, it does make sense. It does kind of make sense. Right? It does kind of make sense. Cranial volume is an important feature in specimens and species, right? It is. It just plain is.
On set and had to be replaced with a body double for longer shots. The opening scene where he breaks down in a hotel room, crying.
Dan Snow says, I'm supposed to be getting out of prison today. You're wrong line, stupid. You're supposed to be over there. Hilarious. That is pretty funny. That's pretty funny. It's a stupid movie.
Wasn't acting. He'd pretty much lost his mind at that point and suffered a complete nervous breakdown. Shooting finally wrapped in late 1976, but when Coppola flew back to the States to review the rough cut of the movie, two things quickly became apparent. They'd wasted huge amounts of time and money on stuff that would never make the final cut, and the movie still didn't have a proper ending. The only option was to fly everyone back to the Philippines the following year for extensive reshoots.
I wonder if Frozen's there. Or Frozen Dad.
Unfortunately, the strain of the experience was taking its toll on Martin Sheen, who suffered a massive heart attack while he was out in the jungle
Get
and
the
had to
fuck
crawl
out
for
of
half
here.
a mile to
Get the fuck out of here. Really? Really? Martin Sheen had a heart attack in the...
get help. And because everyone was worried the movie would be shut down if the studio found out how serious his condition actually was, he kept it quiet and pretended he'd just suffered from heat exhaustion. The near death of his main actor, combined with the constant pressure of filming in tropical conditions, spiraling budget and crew mutinies, was inevitably taking its toll on Coppola too. The man lost nearly 100 pounds over the course of the shoot, suffered an epileptic seizure, a complete emotional breakdown, and even threatened to end his own life on 3 separate occasions. Jesus, at what point do you just say enough is enough? Anyway, somehow he persevered, and the shoot...
Oh, by the way, that was a real animal that they butchered. Yeah, those cuts in that cat, yeah, that was real. That was 100% real.
Expected to last for 60 days, dragged on for 238. When he finally returned to the States to edit the hundreds of hours of footage they'd shot, he was literally a broken man, mentally, physically, and financially. Apocalypse Now had pretty much taken everything out of him, but the movie was in the can. Now he just had to spend 2 years editing it into a finished cut. Jesus, if I have to spend more than 2 days editing a video, it makes...
Editing is a pain in the ass, dude. Look, like, if you go back to my early videos, I started out editing videos, and editing is fucking bullshit. editing fucking takes forever. It takes forever. And like, you can really get what you want and shit like that, but oh my God, it sucks.
Makes me want to do a Dennis Hopper. Oh, that's some good shit, man. The film finally came out in 1979, 3 years after shooting began, and despite some mixed reactions from early screenings, it went on to achieve massive success and is still recognised today as one of the greatest movies ever made. Apocalypse Now is a complex, challenging, grueling kind of film about an equally grueling war. It's certainly not an easy watch, and by the end, you feel almost as drained as the cast and crew must have felt. But damn!
It is, look, okay, if I want to, Apocalypse Now is a thick watch. It is a thick piece of cinema it's not like, you put on something in the background and like, la, 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 haha. No, you have to actually engage yourself and like really dig through the plot and like the emotions of the character. It's a fantastic movie. It is a fantastic movie, and I recommend it to everybody. But it is a commitment. It is a commitment of a movie.
You've watched something pretty special. Some people consider the ending a kind of disappointing and anticlimactic, and while it's clearly not the epic confrontation that was originally planned, I actually think it fits pretty well with the overall tone of the film. Willard brutally cutting down Kurtz in a frantic, confusing scene, intercut with...
Deer Hunter is another good one. Is that the Benicio del Toro? Is that Benicio del Toro?
Drug-crazed animal slaughter, and finally returning to the real world, forever haunted by his experiences. There's no emotional release, no catharsis at prevailing against an evil enemy who deserved to be destroyed. There's only the horror of war.
No, it's not.
It's a pretty good metaphor.
Okay, well, who is it? Deer Hunter. I feel like I've seen it, but maybe not.
For the long, draining, and ultimately fruitless conflict that was...
Onia says the editing is such a pain in the ass because the software UI workflow sucks. They're too general. Look, I mean, it is what it is. Editing is, you have to like frame by frame. And like, especially if you're doing a long piece like that, it's going to take a long ass time. So, like, yeah, like, editing is just a pain in the ass. It's just going to be a pain. That's why it fucking takes 2 years. I mean, like, you don't even need a big team to do it. You can do it yourself, basically. But, yeah, it might take 2 fucking years. And that's not even, like, you have to decide a lot of shit along the way. Like, do I want this effect? Or do I want this scene to go before this scene, or do I want to drop this scene over here and shit like that? I like video editing. I like it. But like when I was doing it, I gained weight. I gained some fucking weight, and it like took a toll on my body because I would just sit there for weeks and I'd be like, okay, over here. It's okay. Now I'm going to add this over here. And then for weeks, I didn't even see my fucking family. I was just blah, 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 blah. It sucked, dude. It sucked. Now I do this, and there's no editing whatsoever. And I actually feel like I expressed myself a little bit better.
Vietnam. When he was interviewed about his experiences after the film released, Coppola summed up the problems pretty well. We had access to too much money, too much equipment, and little by little, we all went insane. It's a testament to the guy's professionalism and sheer bloody-minded determination that he was able to...
Here's the thing about that. Like, okay, you're shooting the movie and shit. You have tons of money, right? You have the biggest names in Hollywood. And the biggest names in Hollywood like to do drugs. And so they like to do drugs, and you have tons of money. So you have these, like, beautiful resorts where there's, like, Filipino hookers and stuff like that, and mountains of cocaine and shit like that. And, yeah, that's probably where a majority of the budget went, is just making these people comfortable, right? The director should have just been like, yo, You're in the heat of it now. You're going to be uncomfortable for a while. And cut the budget a huge amount. But you have the money. You're going to use the money.
To soldier on through every disaster that befell him and pull such an epic movie out of the festering mire of insanity that he'd been lumbered with. Whether all the problems and challenges ultimately resulted in a better movie, I don't think anyone will ever know. All I do know is that while I'm glad this movie eventually got made, I'm even...
Look, it's not... Francis Ford Coppola is a talented man. He's a talented actor. There was talent... Or director. And there was talented actors in the movie. All right? And it just kind of happened. Honestly, sometimes art just kind of happens. And then you don't even realize how good it was until you've actually made it. That happens. That really does. That happens a lot. That happens a lot.
I'm more glad that I was never part of it. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Go away now. Well, we have 5 more minutes, so we're not going to go away quite yet.
There was a note on his desk.
We're not going to go away quite
number
yet.
Written on it. He called the number and
Scott.
it was the young-looking doctor he saw earlier.
Scott. Oh my God, Scott. He says, anyone tell Sulk he's muted? Scott, we thought you were dead. We were kind of hoping you were dead. Are you dead? Have you just aged out and you're dead now? Hi, Scott. It's so nice to have you back, Scott. You son of a bitch.
He said that he just recently graduated med school and was wondering if he could shadow Kent. Kent thought about it for a second before saying fuck no and hanging up. For the next few weeks, Dr. Kent keeps seeing this mother sucker wandering the halls.
Tim says, what is John saying? I don't know. I'm angry that Scott's here. I'm angry that Scott's here, and I'm angry that he's ruining the whole fucking show now. That's why.
Following doctors around, taking notes, and just generally acting weird as hell. Kent asked around, and it seemed...
Look at Scott. Oh, Scott's here. Everybody, Scott's here. Oh, Scott. Oh, my God. We thought you were dead. We were hoping you were dead.
Like, nobody knew who this guy was. Then one day, Kent looked out his window and noticed police putting the young doctor in handcuffs. Earlier that day, a security guard got curious.
Yeah, hit the like button. If you guys love me at all, you would please hit the like button. Yeah, like seriously. So look, 88 people, 88 fucking people, 88. Look, 44 on Rumble. If I don't get 44 fucking likes on Rumble, there's nothing I can do about it. So I don't even know the point of actually threatening you people.
I looked the doctor up in the system, and it turns out he didn't even work at the hospital. Security questioned the so-called doctor, but he couldn't keep his answers
Scott fucking
straight,
rolls in
so
at
they called the cops.
9:55, and he's like, "I'm seasoning." Oh, you fucking snowbird.
He told police that this
You're
was
a
a big
bitch,
misunderstanding.
Scott. I hate you.
And he had been a doctor for
Scott.
years, and that his family would do it for him.
I hate you with everything I have in my soul.
But when his mother showed up to the scene, she did no such thing. According to her, her son was suffering from some mental condition, but he refused to take his medication. Now, I'm not sure which medical disorder makes you pretend to be a doctor, but this kid had a severe form of that. It turns out he was just some 17-year-old schmuck from the local high school wearing a fake lab coat from Party City. And the fact that it took the hospital over a month to figure this out is actually kind of terrifying.
Anyways.
Since he was a minor and never actually treated
Is
any
Mersh
patients, the
streaming
hospital
tonight?
decided to go easy on him. They didn't press any
I'm sure he
charges, and
is.
his name wasn't released publicly. At least not at the time. This was the first time Malachi Love Robinson would get in trouble for impersonating a doctor. But it wouldn't be the last.
Malachi.
You might
Malachi, you
recognize
big
Mr.
fucking
Robinson
jerk.
from this famous meme where he looks extremely handsome.
He's got a mohawk, Malachi. And he's black. Here's the thing. Him being black, everyone's like, I don't want to question him because questioning a black guy if he's a doctor seems racist.
And qualified. Despite his face being all over the internet in this incredible photo,
That's exactly
most of
why.
you don't know the true story of Malachi Love Robinson or the absolute insanity of it. But you should. This story actually makes me scared to ever go to a hospital, just in case the doctor's some psychotic teenager masquerading as a physician. But to really understand this story, we gotta start at the very beginning, and then do a 1-year time skip. And then...
A 1-year time skip? A 1-year... Look. I'm going on a fucking cruise on Wednesday. I'm leaving. I'm leaving from Orlando. I'm going to fly into Miami. And then I'm going to fly over to Barcelona. And then from Barcelona, I'm going to hop on a boat. And then on that boat, I'm going to be sailing around Italy. And I'm not going to be speaking to any of you fucking people. I'm not going to be speaking to any of you fucking people. That's it. That's exactly what's going to happen. I'm not going to be speaking to any of you fucking people. I might be speaking to somebody. But this is going to be the last one until then. I'm not going to do a Tuesday show. Because you guys don't appreciate me. You guys don't love me how I want to be loved. You know? I want to be loved tenderly and gingerly. But you guys just don't love me like that. And I don't know why. I just don't know why. You know, I give so much to you every single night. And you guys give me nothing. Nothing in return. Why? So it'll be 2 weeks. It'll be 2 weeks until I come back. And I hope you guys really appreciate me and understand what you're missing when I'm gone. So, yeah. Anyways, guys. Until I come back. I hope you guys have a great time. And make me proud. And you know, if you want to donate to my Ko-Fi or my fucking PayPal or to Rumble at any point, please do so. I would greatly appreciate it. It'd help me pay for that fucking vacation. I would really, really, really appreciate that. I would really appreciate that. Anyways, I honestly I'm not lying to you. I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss you guys. I'm going to miss you even though I don't like most of you. I will miss you because you guys are family to me. You're just straight up family to me. And, yeah. Anyways, wish me luck. Wish me a bon voyage. And wish me safety and wish me love. Right? And please, please, please hit the like button at least. At least, for the love of God, at least. And also make sure my plane doesn't crash and stuff. We'll pray for that. Anyways, until 2 weeks from now, I hope you guys do well. I hope you guys be cool to each other. Treat each other well. Make the cult grow. Be good to each other. Drink a lot of water. Get a good night's sleep. And take care of yourselves. Because I care about you too. I love you so much. I'll see you in a couple weeks. Goodbye.
I'm an incredible soul, unhinged and enraged like a bulldog's fierce growl. I'm spitting fire, burning through these trees, questioning the world, unraveling conspiracies. Talking about Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster too. Government lies, they're feeding me their goo. I'm diving deep into this rabbit hole, uncovering the truth, setting fire to their control. I got small nipples, but my voice is loud, born like thunder in this crazy crowd. They say I'm crazy, but I call it woke, unraveling the madness with every word